Again, this is Jeff Mucci with RCR Wireless News, and we are going to be talking about sourcing tower climbers today. And this presentation is brought to you by Towercrews.net, which is an affiliate of RCR Wireless News. So if we could go ahead and advance to the next slide. Our agenda today is to go through a brief industry overview and then show the attendees a brief review of Towercrews. And then we're going to talk about sourcing tower climbers' best practices in terms of sourcing. And then we'll do a wrap up and provide everyone with a special Towercrews.net offer. Again, please feel free to ask any questions throughout the presentation. For starters, I want to just give folks an overview of the industry in the United States. A couple weeks ago, we interviewed Ian Gillett, who forecasted that U.S. carriers are going to spend $90 billion on CapEx and OpEx by 2017. And if my memory serves me correctly, there's roughly $35 billion of CapEx and 50-some odd billion of OpEx. So while we are in the midst of building out LTE networks today, we believe there's going to be even more demand for climbers after these networks are built and go into operational mode. So we expect the demand for tower climbers to exist steadily for the next 3 to 4 years. In the spring, RCR Wireless News moderated a panel at the Southeast Wireless Summit that was put together by, I think, 9 or 10 regional state wireless associations. Kineticom, All States, Telforce, and Access Technologies participated on the panel, and without question, the #1 challenge that they had was finding tower climbers. We talked to some folks at General Dynamics, and they've hired over 300 climbers in the past year, and we looked up on Telecom Careers this morning, and MasTec has over 2,000 jobs posted, many or most of which are related to tower climbers or construction managers or project managers. Next slide, please. So next, I'd like to move over and introduce to you Nick Black, who is Director of Community Development for Towercrews, and he's going to give a short overview of Towercrews.net, our resume and job board.
Hi, everybody. This is Nick Black, Director of Community Development here with RCR Wireless and Towercrews.net. Originally we saw the need in the industry, so we launched Towercrews to help connect the employers and staffing agencies with the tower climber industry. The website has thousands of resumes, and we get more at it every day. Within my role, part of it is to promote the jobs and increase the size of the community, being social networks. So when you're using Towercrews, you're not just using the Towercrews website. You're reaching into all of our social media, including the Facebook groups, LinkedIn, Twitter. So your reach gets quite a bit extended past just who is on the site at that current time. We do constant content creation to help drive traffic to the site, and we do things like educational programs. If you have any problems on the site, there's a tutorial video for each of them. And then, as Jeff had mentioned in the beginning, we are going to offer you all some promotions and special pricing for being on the webinar today. So we do thank you for that. There is going to be a little bit of lag in between slide switches, so just keep that in mind. I do apologize ahead of time. The first thing that we want to look at is navigating the actual site. So let's start by logging in. I encourage each of you to log in on your own account if you can. If you have dual screens, go ahead and log in and follow along with us. But we're going to go ahead and click, go over the account tab and click log in. So when you click log in, on the right hand side, you'll see that you have all these options to log in using social media. If you're anything like me, the logins that we have are countless to all the different sites you use on a daily basis. The great thing about this is that you can use your Google, Yahoo, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or AOL accounts and have a single sign-on option for it, so you don't have to remember your credentials for each site. For today's purposes, we'll just go ahead and log in using credentials. So depending on which button you clicked on to log in, you might come to this page. This is the welcome page. If you just go into log in, log out under account, you'll be taken here. What we're mainly going to look at is the Employer Center. So after you've clicked Employer Center, on the left-hand side, you'll see your navigation bar. On the navigation bar, you can reach any part of the website. You get quick jumps for some of them, but if you ever can't find a tab or you need to get a specific spot, all you need to do is just jump to your Employer Center and everything will be on the left-hand side. So you can log out, edit account info, allow you to go in and change your email address, your contact info, login info, and things like that. The history of viewed resumes will go back and show you how many you've viewed, where you viewed, and it does it over a period of time. You can also view the redirect applications, so this system will allow you to redirect the job postings you put up to other sites, and as they apply on those sites, it'll be redirected here. You can also become featured employer, and I suggest that you each do it because it'll allow you to upgrade your account to a featured employer, and upgrading will help bring your brand and organization and drive more traffic to your postings. What you're probably interested in seeing here is the search areas. So we're going to go over intuitive ways to search during this demo, but for the purposes of navigating the site, you can use the Search Resumes demo, which will allow you to demo your search strings. You can jump directly to the actual pages. The Browse Resumes will let you browse through resumes by category if you don't have a particular search string or keywords that you want to use. And then you can also create search agents and save searches. The difference between the two is a search agent is going to be something that you can set up so that you're not having to log in every day, and as new resumes come onto the board, it will alert you to those. While the save searches will be the strings of Boolean search or your keyword searches that you've used in the past that you felt were relevant and that you wanted to save. So make sure to check out both these buttons. They'll save you a ton of time when using the site. You can go into the Jobs tab and you can manage all of your jobs from here. So going to the Jobs Manager, you can post your job, you can view your reports. We're logged into a basic account right now so that we don't have any jobs posted on this one, but you can manage and post everything right from your job center. If you want to create a response message, the system allows you to do that so that you're not having to respond immediately. And you can do multiple response messages. So as you get multiple response messages in there, make sure that you can go over here and manage those response messages. If you're looking through the site and you decide you want to become a featured company, featured employer, if you need to buy more job postings, our products and pricing is right here. You can view your order history. And you can also view the permissions that are allowed. So when you order something, you can apply those permissions to multiple accounts. And if you want it to be just for you, you can view and manage those permissions from here. So we've taken a look at the site a little bit. Remember that there are tutorial videos on each area of the site. So if you're navigating the site and you have a question, you can either reach out to myself or one of the team members, or you can just jump over to the tutorial videos, which will be posted in the top right of the page. So now that we've kind of navigated the site, I want to give you an introduction to Boolean, and this is what's going to really bring you extra ROI when you're searching. It's going to lower the amount of time that you're taking feeding through the results by actually getting in there and making sure that the results that you're returning are the ones that you want. I imagine most of you understand what Boolean is. Some of you might be asking, what is Boolean? And Boolean logic is actually a form of algebra. And it deduces all values to either true or false. Boolean logic created by George Boole is actually what our computers use for several tasks and logic tasks throughout the day. It's what allows the computer to decide what the next best chess move is on a game of chess, just as it is what allows the computer to say that you want a search result to include a construction manager and not a top hand or a project manager, and it allows you to actually assign true or false values to them. The most commonly used operator is going to be the AND operator. It's important to note that when using AND, it doesn't require keywords to be side by side in the document. You know, and we'll touch back on tips at the very end of the presentation, but we use AND to tell the database to only return results that have 2 or more of our keywords that you specify. So when using AND, you can see, and for instance, we'll just say you're searching for dogs and cats. It's going to only return results that are here in the center of the circle, so results that have both dogs and cats in them. These circles will represent the entire search results if you were to only search for one keyword. So let's take a look at the website and do a simple search for foreman and LTE. So we're going to go back into our search resumes area. And to go over this area quickly, you have your keyword section right here. Now, keywords are going to be the quickest way to jump to what you're looking for most of the time. And while keyword searching is the quickest way, you're going to bring back so many results. There's not going to be specific results. So the Boolean logic that we're going to apply here is what's going to help you narrow down those actual results. If you're requiring them to have a specific degree, you can go in here and flip through the actual degree boxes. For today's purposes, we're not going to require anybody that we're searching for to have a degree. The search period is going to allow you to search within specific periods of time. So if you only want active candidates, you know, you might want to look here within the last week or since yesterday. If you're looking for passive candidates, you know, you want to make sure to include any period or jump back a little bit further. Most of the time, we're going to want a specific radius. If you're doing a nationwide search, you'll want to leave this area blank. We do give you the option to either search by radius, so that'll search a specific amount of miles out in a 360-degree area from your zip code. If you just want to look within a city and state, you can go in here and click into your country, obviously, hit the city and detect straight to the state. A good trick when you're looking at zip codes, if you don't know the zip code exactly of where you're searching for, you can scroll down to your state. We're going to use Texas for example, and just start typing in the city, and it'll pull you up list of area code or zip codes in those areas. So it's just an easy trick if you're unfamiliar with what the zip code is going to be. Go into your city search, type the city name, and it'll pull it up for you. So for today's purposes, let's go ahead and look 150 miles out from our home location, which is Austin, Texas. Actually, let's go ahead and look in Dallas. Okay, so you can see I'm telling the search engine to search 150 miles out from a Dallas zip code. We're going to require 10 resumes to come back, and we're telling it to order them by descending. So let's go ahead and look at, for example, if we wanted to find a foreman with LTE experience. And we actually picked the wrong period button on there, so I do apologize. And just bear with me 1 second. So there we go. The actual last search was going into a safe search agent, so it wasn't aware that we had a search set up like that. You can see here it's going to return results that have foreman and LTE in it. You're going to get some results with just the and operator that do have things like a top and. That's because somewhere in their resume they do have the word foreman listed, and we're telling the search engine to only look for foreman and only look for results that have the words foreman and LTE in them. So going back to the other operators that we have, the next one that we're going to take a look at is the OR operator. In my opinion, it's the second most common Boolean operator. OR does the opposite of AND. It tells the search engine that you do not mind if it returns results with just one of the two keyword or more keywords that you use. So when we're going to use OR, we use it to broaden our search. If a lot of times when you want to use OR is if the title of a position is similar to other titles. So if you're looking for foremen in a specific area and the big companies in that area have typically called them supervisors, you might want to use the OR to make sure that you're telling the search engine you don't mind if it returns results with either of these, but it must have one of them. So for example, to use OR, it's going to return all of these. So we're looking for dogs or cats. If you're in this example, if you are looking for that, it's going to return results from all three areas of the keyword bubbles. Let's go ahead and take a look at, if we want to look for foreman or construction manager. Now you might have noticed on the last one that we did have construction manager in parentheses. Parentheses are another form of Boolean operators that we'll go ahead and go over later. So let's go in here and take a look at foreman. Or of construction manager. So when we're telling the search agent to do a foreman or construction manager search, we don't mind if it returns results that have the word foreman or construction manager in it, but it must return a result that has one or the other. If it doesn't have either the words foreman or construction manager in it, it's not going to return any results.
Hey Nick, one of the questions we had was, do you have to type the word and in all caps?
Correct. So, and that's a good point. I do appreciate you bringing that up, Jeff, and we'll go over that again in the tips at the end. For the purposes of semantic searches, you want to make sure that all of your operators are in all caps and that none of your search terms are in caps. Every search engine is going to be a little bit different about how it interprets this. Some of them don't mind if the entire search string is in all caps. Some of them do. So to make sure that you're streamlined and that you're adhering to all the search engine policies, you want to make sure that your operators, which are the and, or, not, your parentheses, things like that, are going to be in all caps, while your keywords are in all lowercase. So the last operator that we normally would cover in a basic Boolean searching video is the not operator. It's important to note that, as I said before, each search engine that you use is going to interpret your search strings differently. So it's important to note that since they are all different, a lot of them will not accept the not operator. For instance, if you're doing a Google search, they change their syntax all the time. For periods of time, they won't allow not, and for periods of time, they will. Right now, they are allowing it. So when using not operators, you want to make sure that if it's not returning results for you that you're looking for, then there's a reason behind it, and it's probably because that particular search engine isn't accepting it anymore. So not tells the search engine that you do not want it to return any results containing specific keywords or phrases. So remember that when you use not, you're going to exclude keywords which may exclude qualified candidates. So you need to use it sparingly. You need to make sure that that somebody's resume isn't going to have that term on it just by chance, and they could still be a good candidate for you. An example of a good time to use not, as I'd said, maybe you're looking for a foreman. Oftentimes foremans are obviously promoted later in their careers to construction managers or project managers. Since individuals at the CM and PM level oftentimes might not want to take a step back into foreman position unless they're just ready to get back into that role, we might want to tell our search engine to go ahead and exclude candidates that have the terms construction manager or product manager in that case. As you can see here, dogs not cats, it's only going to return results within this portion of the keyword results page. So if we go over here, we're going to go ahead and throw in some of our advanced operators, which we'll see here in a minute. If you can tell, we're using parentheses as well as quotations. And a good thing to note about the actual Towercrews engine is you have to use not after the word and. It won't allow you to just use not. Now that's another one of the things that come back to the differences in search engines. Some of them will just let you to use not. In this case, for the platform we are on, you have to use the words and then use the word not. And then say we're looking for somebody that doesn't have microwave experience. So here we told it we want results that only have the words foreman and or construction manager in them, and we don't want results that have microwave in them. So these are going to be the results that we see from that. Going back to the capitalization, remember to keep your operators capitalized and your keywords in lowercase. It's very important to do that, like we had said before, for various reasons. One of the big reasons that we didn't touch on is it helps keep your search strings clean so that you can read them. Sometimes if you're hurrying or you don't fully understand the syntax, you can be returning no results or returning too many results. And as long as you keep your string, no matter how long it is, organized and you have the right things capitalized, you're going to be able to see into the search string and detect where your problem is a little bit easier. So you may need to try different searching as well. So when you're looking at it, if you're still having problems, just make sure you ask yourself these questions. You want to make sure that you ask yourself if your topic's too broad, if you're receiving too many results, why are my keywords too broad, or just too many people putting this on their resume? Because we all know it'd be perfect if everybody's resumes were neat and clean. That's just not the case in the industry. So you really need to put some logic and thought to the search strings that you're using, not to exclude too many people and not to include too many people. So you ask yourself, is my search topic too broad? Is my search topic too specific? And then if you're still having problems, go back and look and ask, what are some other search terms that I'm going to be able to use here? How can I search those terms differently? Is there an acronym that's used for a certain technology? What if I spelt out the acronym? And then you're going to slowly, through trial and error, stop removing the people that you want to see and mostly include just the people as well. So we're going to look at a couple other Boolean search techniques. You've seen them a little bit in the searches that we've done to this point. Quotations are going to hold things together. Parentheses are going to hold specific portions of the search string together. And then the wildcard, which is my personal favorite, allows you to bring in multiple endings on a search term. So the first one we're going to look at is the quotation operator. And it's used to group two or more words together. This requires a search engine to return grouped keywords or phrases. For instance, if you want to use construction manager, because you want to make sure to use quotation marks in front of construction at the end of manager, because if you don't, it's telling the search engine that you don't mind it to return results with the words construction and manager anywhere throughout the document. It could be manager in one portion of the document and construction in the other part. So you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a lot various results in those situations based off, the fact that you're not telling it those two keywords must be side by side. You can use quotations with parentheses as well to group things like lines and antennas. So this is telling it that you want that exact sentence, lines and antennas, to come up on the search. So for example, if we want results that say foreman or construction manager, it's going to return results from all three keyword circles again. But we're making sure to only have 2 keyword circles because of the quotations. So if we didn't have quotations around this, you would have a third bubble here, and you'd need another or. This is just an easy way to cut it down. The next operator we're going to take a look at is the parentheses operator. By using parentheses, we can start to group different algebraic portions of your string together within the Boolean string. If we wanted to use both the AND as well as the OR operator, as seen above, we can go ahead and use the parentheses. So, for example, if your search string, you either want a foreman and you don't want to exclude people that have supervisor on their resumes, so you could say foreman or supervisor and put that in parentheses, and then do AND LTE. So we'll go ahead and take a look at a quick example of that. Once again, you see here, we've got foreman or construction manager. We've made sure to use quotations around the terms construction manager and parentheses around this chain. This is telling the search engine that it must search this portion altogether. This is making this one bubble, basically keyword bubble, and that keyword, and not that keywords not to, keyword bubbles are not to include any terms microwave. But for another example, you could do say if you wanted to find a foreman or a supervisor and they have to have LTE on their resume, this is going to reduce those keyword bubbles and also get you to the actual results that you're looking for a lot faster. So as a visual example here, you can see the portions that the arrows are pointing to are going to be the results that are returned. It's got to have, it's got to have that, or it's not going to return any results in those areas. The wildcard operator is my favorite personal operator, and quite possibly could be the most useful operator when you use it the correct way. What the wildcard does is take a keyword, maybe the keyword's commonly misspelled or has multiple endings or multiple abbreviations, and the wildcard operator will tell the search engine that you want it to include results with all possible endings to a specific key term. So for example, if we're searching for the word management, if we want to cut that down to its root and put the wildcard afterwards, it's going to return management, it's going to be returned managed, managing, and any other forms of the word that may appear after the root. So really what you're telling it is you can put any root there. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Put the wildcard operator after it, and then it's going to return results with any ending there. So oftentimes people may misspell a word on their resume if it's a hard word to spell. As long as you're not looking for spelling errors on somebody's resume, you might not want to exclude that person. So you can cut it down to a root, hopefully the portion that everybody's going to get correct, and then go ahead and move into not excluding the people just because of improper spelling or multiple ways that they could write the actual terms. So those are going to be the basic Boolean operators for you. I often hear from recruiters that they might not want to use Boolean because it's flawed or it's different. Most of the time when I hear that, it's because they're not checking into the syntax for the particular search engine they're using, or maybe they're just used to using just keywords. Remember that keyword searching, while effective, it is the most basic type of search anybody can run. So it offers you no competitive advantage. It's going to be the same people that everybody that is competing against you, if you're in a competitive third-party agency or if you're internal recruiting, those are going to be the most commonly returned people if you're just using keywords. So you're going to really be attacking a pool of candidates that everybody is getting at rather than looking for hopefully the people that you want specifically and not trying to dig too much. well, I'll agree that sometimes you do need to run just a keyword search if you can't find results you want using the Boolean logic. However, the majority of the time, when I hear that keyword searches are the only thing and that they want to use, if I go sit with the recruiter and help them run a search, the reason they're not getting the results they want is a flaw in the logic or the way that the individual interprets what the system's actually doing. So, as I've mentioned several times, if you're using a new system, it's always important to look into the logic. You can find it on any website. It's listed on ours. It's listed on any other job boards that you're using. If you're using Google to do in-title searches, it's listed on there. And just make sure that you're really aware of what you're doing before you do it. Some common Boolean logic mistakes that I really notice quite a bit is expecting a resume. The most common really is expecting a resume to have exactly what you're searching for. Resumes by nature are imperfect, and especially in the tower industry, can be a poor reflection of the individual's actual ability to perform the job functions. I'm sure you've all ran into this in some form or fashion. Remember the wildcard operator that we went over and how it allows for multiple root endings? We've said it before. This will allow simple spelling mistakes or alternative endings, tenses, or acronyms to be included, and you'll end up having a better candidate pool because you're not excluding qualified candidates from returning in a search. Remember also, you should research your searches before you take action. I'd oftentimes remember hearing from recruiters in previous roles that this technology doesn't exist, or no one in the world has this on their resume. And the first thing I'll ask them is, did they take the time to research the keywords they're using? Did that particular technology change its name, or in a recent release, did a company change hands and now it's branded under a different term? These are all things that are going to be important if you're having a hard time searching and you're not really familiar with the industry. Make sure that you do at least do a quick search on the actual key terms that you're searching to understand is this key term referred to by something else in the industry, and so forth. Another one that I get is the assumption that one search is going to return all the qualified candidates. In my opinion, this is a huge misconception in our industry. Oftentimes, you need to go back and tweak your searches to ensure that you did not exclude the qualified candidates. In particular, I use 2 to 3 searches at minimum when sourcing a new role, just to make sure that I don't exclude people that are qualified candidates. And then, relying solely or heavily on title-based searches can run you into some of the same problems. So if you're only searching for somebody that has the title foreman, as we looked at before, you're excluding everybody who may have been called a supervisor, and you're not going to return all of the results that you need. Remember that not all companies use the same titles and roles for their responsibilities. So just make sure that you're not excluding qualified results simply by searching based off of titles. If you know the position you're recruiting for and you've researched the key terms, you should know what to expect to see on a supervisor's or foreman's resume regardless of their title. So that's when you can get in and use longer key term searches, use a lot more ands, and really drill down on specific people, and then you don't even need to have the words foreman or supervisor or anything in their actual resume. So in this portion, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the chat tab. And if anybody has questions, please let me know.
Yeah, Nick, thank you very much. What I'd like to do while we're reviewing the questions, I'd like to launch a short poll just to gauge the audience and their demand for tower climbers. So I'm launching a poll right now that if you could, folks on the attendees on the call, if you could just take a minute and click the box. This is anonymous. We're not going to put your name up there, but we will compile the results and show it here in just a few minutes. But while the poll is up, and so please, I invite everyone to just take a minute and click. We can see the votes coming in. We've got about 50% of the attendees voting. One of the questions that came up, Nick, was how many how much demand is there for tower climbers in the market today? And if you don't mind, there was a slide that I think we put together that covered some of the research that we put together. Nick, do you by chance have that handy?
Yeah, give me 1 second, Jeff, and I'll jump right to it. And then if you can moderate the questions to me, I'll answer them. I do not have the questions tab on this
Yeah, no
particular GoToMeeting here.
So we've got about 80% of the attendees voting. I'll wait another minute, then I'm going to close the poll and share the results.
Okay. Now, Jeff, was your question about how many? Was the question received about how many job postings or what the demand was for?
Nick, if you just put that slide up where I talk about the results from Career Builder, Monster, Telecom Careers, and Wireless Estimator, and some of the assumptions we made that you can start coming up with, approximately how many open positions there are for tower climbers.
Absolutely. So you can see by the slide that we have up, just as of yesterday, this is the numbers that we were looking at. In Career Builder, you have 133 job postings up, 19 on Monster, 27 on Telecom Careers. Those are all paid sites, obviously. With Wireless Estimator not charging, if you're an employer and not a recruitment agency, they'll allow you to throw anything up there. The assumption that 90% of the Wireless Estimator postings are requirements for 5 or 10 climbers. And they're looking at that and saying that the demand's 1,632 100 climbers. Jeff, what would you have to say about the actual question?
Well, that was actually an assumption I made. So I went in and looked at, assume if they have 399 postings and the average company is looking for, let's say, 5 to 10 climbers, on average there's demand for 1,632 climbers. And the point being on this slide is that there's certainly more demand than there is available tower climbers in the market. So the question for the audience is, what do you do? And going back to my opening comment, everyone's trying to hire the same folks, and it really led us to build a resume database, a job board, and really invest the time in hiring someone like Nick to start building a community. We're working very closely with Nate and the tower training companies to expand the community and the number of actually tower climbers coming into industry, and the new climbers that are coming in. We want to make sure they're trained properly. So, but I just want to give some folks perspective. If you type in tower climber on Monster and Career Builder and Telecom Careers, you're going to see X number of job postings. I think Craig at Wireless Estimator does an excellent job with his help wanted section and positions available. It does scroll through 60 days, then the job postings roll off and the resumes roll off. Whereas when you look at Towercrews, you can search up to, I think today we're around 3,900 or 4,000 resumes, so you can constantly be searching, and we're adding new resumes every day as people learn about Towercrews. The site's been up now roughly 60 days or so. Going forward, we're going to be layering in a feature that will have new candidates shown on the main website, so that's a new feature that you'll see soon. So that now you'll clearly have to expend a reveal to see the contact information, but we will be putting new candidates up on the site. Nick, at this time I'm going to share the results of the poll just so everybody can see, and I think this speaks to the point of the demand for tower climbers in the industry today. All the attendees on the call are looking for tower climbers. 42% of the attendees are looking for 16 or more tower climbers. So we encourage folks to get involved with our Towercrews community on Facebook and really engage with RCR around the tower climber industry. You're going to see RCR cover this sector more. You're going to see us looking for opportunities to engage with staffing companies and employers about trends in the industry. So please feel free to reach out to Nick or myself. Nick, we got a couple other questions. I'm just going to roll them out to you here. One of the questions, will we get a copy of the presentation? Yes, all the attendees will be getting a link to the recorded presentation. If you want an actual copy of the PowerPoint, just send Nick a note. Let's see. Can you tell us a bit more about the resumes we have? We spent the better part of 9 months really screening and qualifying candidates and building a quality resume database. So we feel like it's one of the best databases in the industry today. We're also reaching out to training companies and colleges, making sure that they're aware of it, so that folks are coming out of power line training programs, which are very extensive, certainly more so than cellular tower climbing classes, that they know about our sites, and you'll start to see a surge of resumes. Nick, there's a question here from a person. I'm going to read it to you. I've been Googling for a long time using lowercase without any problems, so I guess it's a validation that Boolean can be helpful, but they just plain old Googling works just fine too. Any comment on that?
Absolutely. So as I'd said in the actual video, every search engine is going to be doing it a little bit different. The capitalization I had mentioned, a lot of its benefit is going to be in making sure that your string is really clean, so that when you're going back and looking at it, you can make sure that if you have a problem with the results that are returned, you can see where your operators are. You can see if you need to change them. In previous roles I've had 300-400 character long searches, and when they get to big semantic search like that, you really need a method of keeping it clean and precise, knowing what your data is versus what your operators are. As I'd mentioned before, Google's the best about it because they're really getting to a point to where their search engine, it doesn't matter what you put into it, it's going to read it. If it'll know if it's Boolean, and it'll move from there. But when you get out and you're using other job boards or other search engines, as a rule of thumb, it's good to keep all of the operators capitalized, because some of your job boards or some of your actual search engines, they're not going to detect that as a Boolean operator. They're going to detect it as a keyword, and then you're just going to be, if, for instance, with the AND operator, if it's detecting it as a keyword, you're going to get every single person's resume out there, because everybody's got AND somewhere on their resume. So to answer your question again, yes, well, Google is great about it by accepting everything as a rule of thumb, just to keep your strings clean and concise, and to really put more thought and logic to the string. It's good to capitalize them, and then it'll make sure that your search string is uniform across all of the search engines that you actually use on it.
Okay, and Nick, one of the other questions here is there a resume generating feature for those who do not have a resume?
Yep.
And I'll comment on that, and you can kind of weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a resume builder function in the website, and one of the things that we've heard consistently from employers and staffing companies, and we've witnessed ourselves, is that tower climbers oftentimes do not take the time to build a quality resume. So we have tried to build in not only a resume builder, which covers the basics of different positions you've had, we've also layered in a requirements self-evaluation form that has some 30+ questions, so they can fill out the types of towers they've climbed on, the types of training they have, whether it's Anritsu or otherwise, PIM testing. So we've built in a self-evaluation form. We believe that it will take some time before people start really filling that out. So we obviously encourage you guys to come back and search frequently. But Nick, I mean, what are your thoughts there on the resumes you've looked through, not only at Towercrews, but also in the industry as a whole?
So that is a great question, because I mean, it's the truth to the industry. Most people, or, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of the guys out there, they don't have resumes, and whether it's because they were never taught how to build a resume, or they've never needed to because demand is so high. We've seen that, and we've heard the woes from the industry, and like Jeff said, we've built in that resume builder, and the great thing about it is that it makes it super easy for these guys to go in there. They're not going to have to rack their head against the wall. They can either do a basic form of it and insert in all the main things that we want from searching, years of experience, type of experience, and things like that, and then they can go more in depth if they want to, and really nail down into every single area. But The baseline add resume, if they don't have a resume, it's going to require them to at least put in the skill sets and keywords that are from the list that they have experience with, so that, if you need, somebody with backhaul experience, or if you need somebody that's got decom experience, they're going to be on there. And in those cases, they'll have the ability to select that versus if they were just to upload a resume.
Okay. One of the questions came up about our pricing structure. Currently we have in Towercrews, you can buy blocks of resume reveals, which is different than what you might see at other sites where you get X number of resume views per day. And the reason we chose to have this type of reveal resume structure is because of the limited number of resumes that are available in this tower climber sector. So we've tried to price our buckets of resume reveals in a manner that is fair and consistent with the other, with what it really costs to hire or place a tower climber. As one of the benefits of attending today's call, we're actually rolling out some new pricing promotions. And Nick, if you want to move over to the pricing promotions and the other benefits of being attended today, please jump over to that slide.
Absolutely. So you should see the slide now. As Jeff had mentioned, we're going to award each of your accounts 5 free resume reveals for being on the actual webinar today. So within our site, you have the ability to search and use those keyword searches to bring back the summary fields, and then you can do that at no cost. And then when you find the person that you want, you can go ahead and use one of those 5 free resume reveals to get their contact info. We are going to offer special pricing to all members on this list. Make sure to stay to the end of the webinar and get my contact info off the next slide. Another great thing is that we're going to go ahead and give you guys 90-day job postings, no cost, if you post them by 10/1. So we're going to go ahead and add some credits to each of your accounts for job postings. As long as you post by the 1st of October, there'll be 90-day job postings. After the 1st of October, all of those jobs that job reveals that or job postings that we gave you that have not been used are going to be removed from your account.
Okay. So effectively today we are changing our pricing to be for 75 reveals, the pricing's $1,995. For 125 reveals, it'll be $3,495. And for 250 reveals, the price is $5,995. We will have a special offer for a limited time, 10 reveals for $995, which we're introducing today on this webinar. Nick, why don't you go ahead and go over to and by the way, all these pricing plans will be available on the website tomorrow. You can order online or you can give Nick a call. Nick, why don't you flip over to your contact information? And we do, so. Yeah, so Nick has I guess 3 to 4 years of recruiting experience in the IT world. One of the reasons we brought him on is because he proved to be a very effective sourcing person in his last position, and was also the sourcing trainer for DICES up in Dallas and in Denver. So we're delighted to have Nick on our team here, and his job is to help connect you with the industry. He's been very active in our Facebook site, and we're just wrapping up, and we'll announce the winners of our Extreme Tower photo contest in the next week or so. And we invite you guys to connect with Nick, be active on our sites. He's going to be doing weekly hangouts with key people in the industry. So we really encourage you to reach out to Nick with any questions about the site or about the industry as a whole.
And one good thing to hit on before we leave is that, I touched on it at the beginning, is when you post a job, if you pay to make it a featured job, we're going to push that job to all of our social media. So, our engagement on Facebook, our engagement on LinkedIn, our engagement on Twitter, and several other sites. We're going to make sure to push those jobs there, so you're going to get even more view. We have a 46,000 person reach just on our Facebook site alone. So make sure to feature your jobs, and then if you're not getting enough posts to it, if you feature it, it's going to push all to all of our social media, and you're going to get a huge pool of candidates that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Great. Well, Nick, good job today. If you have any question, please send Nick a note or give us a call. So at this time, we're going to wrap up the webinar, and the attendees will be receiving a copy of the presentation. And for the job postings or reveal promotions, please give Nick a call. Thank you very much.
Thank you.